Hello, everybody.
Kasta kameran.
Ja, jag vet. Och jag ska bara ta det.
Got rid of him.
Okay, welcome. Yesterday we had Bob Burnquist as the substitute teacher, and today it's Tony Hawk. It's hard to know where to start. You don't need much of an introduction, I think. But these are the students of our school. They're skaters, cartoonists, film and photo students. And they go here for 3 years. A high school diploma in Sweden is for 3 years. You can take skateboarding as a subject on the curriculum.
Wow.
And the skate park is our classroom. So welcome.
Thank you.
And
you're late. You can come in if you want. Not you, him.
Thank you, Mr. Rock. Thank you.
It's disrupting our class.
How have you? What do you think about the food so far?
The food?
Yeah.
The food's been great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good.
I love Europe. I love Scandinavia, and so it's always fun to come visit. I haven't been to Sweden in about 4 years.
Because I think the first time you came, you weren't too stoked on the food.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. It was well. I didn't travel very much. When the first time I came, I was 17.
In '84.
16, yeah. And so I hadn't traveled very much, so I just wasn't used to all the different cuisines and stuff. And we were at a summer camp in Stockholm, and they were just feeding us whatever, big just fish in tins. And I was, I was a kid that grew up eating pizza at McDonald's, so it was a little bit of a shock to me. But I was glad I did it. Honestly, I was glad that I spent 5 weeks in Sweden at that time. It really changed my perspective on a lot of things.
And what happened that afternoon after you had the stale fish?
That was somewhere else. I know what you're talking about. That was somewhere else. So I was okay. I was okay here.
Yeah.
I survived here. Yeah.
All right. Good. You know where I was trying.
Yeah. That was in Brazil, actually. That was a problem for me.
Oh, okay.
I had severe food poisoning in Brazil once.
So forgot everything I taught you about the stale fish.
That was actually the stale fish. So that is true. We were at this camp. And at the time, skating was not very popular. So when they had this summer camp in Stockholm, most of the skaters in Europe converged there, which weren't very many, but they had about 50 campers or so. And I was keeping a diary each day. And so I was just keeping a diary. It was very cryptic. It was just for me, and it was like tricks we were doing and things we did. And I wrote stale fish because that's what we had for lunch one day. And someone was reading my journal, and they said, "Stale fish, what is stale fish?" And he said, "Is that trick you do with the backhand? You grab it behind the foot?" And I said, "Sure." I said, it was actually my lunch, but yeah, I'll call that trick that stale fish, because we didn't have a name for it. So that's how it became that. So it was named in Sweden. You were correct at that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Sweden has played a sort of role in your career, trick-wise, because the 720
yeah. Mm-hmm.
was here as well.
Yeah.
And
Well, in 1984, at that same camp, Mike McGill invented the McTwist at the camp. And when I went there the next year, the ramp was much bigger than what we would ride. And you could get much more aerial time. And so I thought, well, what's next after 540, 720? And I started trying them, and I learned them in about half hour, because the ramp was so much bigger than what we were used to. So Sweden has a rich skate history for sure.
Yeah. And now it's been a while, but what made you come to Malmö this time around?
I've been watching this event grow over the years, and it's been hard to coordinate with my schedule. I was always committed to something else when the time would come. And so this year I just made sure that it was the right time and that I could get here, and I'm glad I did. And this is amazing. Not just the competition, but to see this you know, to see this educational system is incredible. This is not, when I was a kid, skateboarding was not cool. Skateboarding was largely, it was just something that people didn't want you doing. You know, they weren't encouraging you at all. They thought there was no future in it. And so when I was in high school, I had to hide my skateboard, and my teachers thought that, you know, you're not going anywhere with it. And I was able to create a PE course, physical education course, around skateboarding in my school because it had never been done before, and I went through all the proper channels of submitting this curriculum to the school board, and I was able to get it. It wasn't anything like this. It wasn't like there was a skate park connected to the school at all, but I'm glad we've come this far, and you guys are very lucky to have this.
And that was pretty much our starting point as well, only not doing it just for one, but for a whole school.
Yeah, I mean that's I can't believe how far it's come. Honestly, you know, skateboarding, like I said, it was something that was very uncool when I was a kid. I did it because I loved it. I did it because I had a couple of friends that I really enjoyed doing it with, and I felt like there was always something new to learn. It provided me a sense of self-confidence. It gave me a voice when I was, you know, really kind of awkward, skinny kid, and it took a long time for skating to get to where it is now. I mean, you know, this is when I was in high school, it was in the early '80s, and I don't think skating really hit its stride or its recognition factor until maybe less than 10 years ago, honestly.
It's come a long way, and you've been around for the long haul. What keeps you motivated to keep going?
It's stuff like this. You know, I can't believe how far we've come, and I get to experience it. I still get to be here and participate and you know, be considered relevant. But it's more because everything's a nice surprise now. The fact that there are facilities like this all across the globe. You know, there's skate projects, skate camps in Afghanistan, in Cambodia, in South Africa, in Uganda, in Ethiopia. That's unbelievable to me. You know, I grew up in Southern California where that was sort of the central of skating, but there wasn't much else outside of that at the time, and now it's global.
Yeah. On a more personal level, what's left for you? Are there still things that you really want to do? Have you done that video part yet? Where you?
I don't know. I still love skating and I still love trying new tricks. It's just, you know, I'm older. I'm not going to try to push like mega ramp spinning moves or something like that. Just because I can't really be put through that abuse anymore. But I think that for me, it's like I said, everything's more of a nice surprise, and I want to embrace it. I want to keep trying and keep raising the awareness of skateboarding globally. I was just in, you know, this is all kind of new news and not something that people know about, but I was.
So don't tell anyone.
No, it's okay. But I was in Lausanne yesterday, and I met with the IOC from the Olympics, really trying to move for skateboarding to be included in the Olympics, and it is very likely it will be in Tokyo in 2020. Skateboarding.
What's your take on that? How do you see that?
I have mixed feelings, honestly. If it's going to happen, I want to help guide it the right way so that skateboarding is well represented and it's authentic. It's not just under the Olympic umbrella and everyone has to wear the uniform and do these certain tricks. Like, that's just not what skateboarding is. So I want to make sure that it's done right, but at the same time, I feel like why didn't they recognize this earlier? And I feel like skateboarding. I feel like the Olympics need skateboarding more than skateboarding needs the Olympics. You know, they have the summer games are so boring. I mean, can we agree on that? You know, just like the running and the swimming, and it's like, and the youth aren't really watching it, and they need skateboarding in the Summer Olympics the same way that they needed snowboarding in the Winter Olympics. You know, snowboarding added this youthful energy to the Winter Games, and now it's the highlight of the Winter Games, as far as I'm concerned. And I feel like skateboarding will do that for them, for their Summer Games. So I want to help I want to help that process.
I keep thinking about that someone is gonna do it, and when good people do nothing, bad things happen, and it's important to be the good.
Well,
guys here
I
and
see
push
the
it
reason
right
the
way.
reason I'm involved is because I see it happening regardless.
Mhm.
So I feel like if the right people aren't there, it's gonna go awry. It's
Exactly.
gonna go bad. Yeah.
On the other hand, there's a few skaters that keep skateboarding very grounded and put an edge to it. Like Bam Margera perhaps was one of them. Ben Rayborn, Jeremy Klein, Heath Kirchard, and they were all under your umbrella at one point. But who are some of the skaters that you look up to or inspire you, that you see are keeping skateboarding hardcore and cool?
God, that's such a loaded question. Well, I think that always skating is always irreverent. Skating is always somewhat rebellious, and so there's always going to be people on the fringes doing stuff that is not the what's called the mainstream. People like Ben Rayborn or people like the street era of skating, of skating rails that you're not supposed to, and that edge is always there for skateboarding. So I'm not worried about the core and the drive to skate, because that will always be there regardless of how big it is, even if it's in the Olympics. But as far as skaters go, I mean, these days there's so many amazing skaters. It's really hard to pick and choose. I'm still inspired by Bob Brenquist. Like the stuff that he does on ramps is still uncharted. The things that he's attempting, the sizes is just like, what is going on? I never dreamed that stuff would be happening. And he's here. I can't believe he's here, because I thought that he would skate no ramp under 20 feet these days. And like our team, I feel like we've always had a really strong team through Birdhouse, like Jeremy Klein, Heath Kirchard, Andrew Reynolds, now Ben Rayborn and Jaws. Those guys are doing stuff that we never dreamed would be possible. Nor do we still think is possible. I mean, stuff that Jaws jumps down is like, how do you survive that? I don't understand. But he does it.
And he survives.
He survives, yeah. Well, sometimes.
Yeah. Bob was talking, pretty much saying the same things that you did about him yesterday. And he was talking about how good you were at spinning, and that he sucks at it. if he can't do it.
That's why he started skating big ramps, I think, because he can spin slower up in the air at 20 feet.
But then we talked about that even the best skaters have weak spots. And what's the one trick that you seem never to be able to learn, even how much you try?
That's a good question. Well, I mean, my kickflips are not very consistent, so I don't usually.
Flat kickflips or on vert?
On vert. Yeah, surprisingly, I can do them on flat, which is not usually what vert skaters can do. But but on vert, it's just not something I've ever been consistent with. Nor did I want to work on, because it's considered more of a basic trick these days, and I don't want to just be bailing something that everyone can do every other time. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of have my own style of vert, and I just go with it. But definitely, it's a trick that gave me trouble through the years, because it's something that wasn't created until I had already been established as a pro. And that's tough when you've already sort of have your mode of skating, and suddenly there's this whole new movement, and it's like, well, I don't know how to do that. I skate this way, and my board is this wide, and I don't understand how to flip it. So,
as long as you don't try, no one's going to know that you can't do them either.
Well, there's that too.
Being, I mean, you're a big inspiration to a lot of skaters from way back until today. But who inspired or inspires you from growing up until today?
My first inspiration was Steve Caballero, because I saw a picture of him in a magazine. I was young, I was really small, and I wanted to learn how to fly, like these pictures I saw of the people in the magazines, of people swimming out of swimming pools. They were in the air, and I saw this picture of Steve Caballero. He had elbow pads on his knees because he was so small, and he was doing an aerial that was like 3 or 4 feet out, And I thought, look at that guy. That guy's my size, and he's doing this. He was a little bit older, but I was that image stuck in my head. Like, I want to go learn that. If someone that size can do it, I want to learn how to do it. Because every other guy that was in the magazine was big, bulky dudes, you know, that were like men, and I was this little kid. So definitely Caballero, and through the years, you know, he became one of my peers. And we would always bounce tricks off each other, but definitely growing up, it was, you know, through my era of becoming pro at first, it was Steve Caballero, Christian Osoy, Lance Mountain, Mike McGill, Kevin Staub. You know, that was my crew.
Are they still the guys you skate with?
They all skate, yeah, all of them.
Cool.
There's hope for everybody. We're this old and we still skate.
We've seen Birdhouse sort of have had some peaks, and from, I think it was the first or second video that ended with "please copy this video and spread it to the world." It was way before Pirate Bay and sharing.
Yeah.
Sharing.
Well, I felt like through my era of the 80s, the videos were the biggest promotional item we had. You know, the Search for Animal Chin, Bones Brigade video show, all that stuff was like, that was the way to get what we were doing out to the public, that anything outside of competition. And we had so much fun making those videos, so when I started Birdhouse, my first directive was get a video made of our team and get it out there, however you can. You know, so it was before YouTube, obviously, it was before digital video for the most part. And so I just said, here's the video. We said, send us $5 and we'll send you the video. Because it was the money wasn't to be made, it was just for the shipping of the video. And then at the end of the video I said, please copy this. Because I just want as many people to see it as you can. You know, we just wanted to get the word out there that we were a new brand, we were a new team, and this is what we do. And you know, it was very renegade because we were using any music we wanted to. We were using Beatles songs and, you know, established bands, but it was a bit of a lawless time. I love it. I love those days. That was a blast, and that was the beginning of shared media. I think that wasn't copyright heavy.
No.
I mean, it should have been,
Yeah.
but we didn't care.
Yeah. What I was trying to get is, at such a long career, there must have been some hard times. And what are some of the pivotal moments where you perhaps didn't know whether or not this was going to work as a career, or if you ever even wanted to?
I think, well, for me, at the sort of the late 80s, as skating started to die in popularity again, it was hard for me to make a living. It was hard to make a living as a pro skater. It was even harder to make a living as a vert skater because, you know, street skating was coming in full force. And so for me, that was why I started Birdhouse, because I wanted to remain in the industry. I believed that skating was going to come back in popularity, but I didn't know, and there was no guarantee. And so, but I wanted to remain, I was too passionate about the sport, and I wanted to remain in it, and so I started the company with pretty much all the savings I had. But it was hard, you know, the first few years. I remember the day, this is totally random, but the day that we, the first time we went to publicly show our Birdhouse skateboards at a trade show was like a first time we really were, you know, we had skateboards, we had a team, this is who we are. I went in my backyard, I swear this is true, I went in my backyard and there was a dead hawk in my backyard that had hit the power line and died and landed in my backyard. And I was like, is this a sign that I'm dead? Is this the end of everything right here? Like, I took all my money and poured it into a skateboard company, and now there's a dead hawk in my yard.
Last time there was a dead hawk on your board, you were doing pretty well.
Yeah, that's true. But that also made me think, man, you better step it up. You know, better make this count, because this is everything you have. And we did. You know, we stuck it out. There were about 3 years of Birdhouse that were very difficult. I had just started a family, and I had to sell my house. I had to move back into a smaller place and really try to save money and try to ride it through, and we did, but it was hard.
Now you're doing good.
I can't complain.
And I was thinking yesterday about how to introduce you, and I think to a lot of people here nowadays, you're perhaps getting more known as Riley's dad.
That works.
And through him and his career, I guess you get to see the skateboard career, the skateboard industry in a new way. But how do you think you and him perceives skateboarding differently, with him being a professional as well now?
Well, when I grew up in skating, the only thing that mattered in terms of popularity or recognition was how you competed, how well you did in competition. So if you were not placing well in the competitions, you were not going to get a pro model. You were not going to get to go to travel the world and things like that. And we knew the value of our videos, obviously, through those days. I mean, the videos started coming out, and that increased the awareness. But it's still, the thing that mattered most was the competition. The big difference between my generation and Riley's generation is that Riley's generation is all about your video coverage, your stunts, how you're stepping it up all the time, and he doesn't compete. I mean, he does a little bit, but that's not why he's known. And that's a totally different perspective on skating, is that you can be this legendary skater without ever having to show yourself in competition. And there are plenty of guys, Jaws, Ben Rayborn, Riley, Figgy, Andrew Reynolds, none of those guys compete, but they're considered the best.
Do you think they're cheating?
I don't think they're cheating, no. I mean, they give it, you work way harder on a video than you do on a contest. Yeah. You have your competition is a minute of your life. A video is like years of your life.
Do you ever compete, the two of you?
We haven't in a while. I think the day that I knew Riley was beyond my skill level and sort of beyond me able to help him skating, we were skating a pyramid with like a ledge on it, and he said, "Hey Dad, how do you do?" I said, "Hey Dad, can you do kickflip to frontside tail slide on that ledge?" And I was like, "Riley, I'm honored that you asked me that, but there's no way I could ever do that. No, I don't know how to tell you how to do it, and I love that you think I can do it, but I can't." And I realized, and then he learned it, and I was like, "That's it. I'm out. You're go.
Yeah.
You're on your way." But it's super fun to watch, to watch his progression and to watch his drive, because I see similarities in us, that he never wants to rest on his accolades. He never wants to, he's not satisfied ever. He wants to keep trying harder stuff and keep pushing it. And I know the feeling. It's just that stakes are way higher. The risks are way higher.
If you were him, or let's say you could time travel and go back and meet Tony Hawk, 18 years old, what would you tell him, or what would you try to teach him and say, this is important?
Learn kickflip indies.
Yeah.
What would I tell? I think I would just tell him, if you think things are hard, or just stay the course, because you won't believe what's going to happen. And to be honest, I still don't believe what's happening. I can't believe that I still get to do this for a living. That now there's this popularity, there's this recognition, there's schools that are based out of a skate facility. It's amazing to me, and it's stuff. They say like, "Oh, is this what you dreamt about? Was this when you were young?" I was like, "You couldn't dream this. None of this existed. None of this was even a thought. So are you living the dream? Yeah, but we're creating the dream. That's how I feel these days, is that all of us, we're creating this dream, because this stuff didn't exist, and it's incredible to me."
Yeah, when you put it that way, it's pretty hard to take in even.
It is, yeah, absolutely. I mean, these days, like, I get to travel the world, and see skating blossom in places that I never imagined, and I get to do it while getting paid, and I get to do it with someone else's travel expenses. I mean, it's unbelievable. It really is. Like, and I get to take my family along. It's just like, what? Like at some point, someone's gonna wake up and be like, wait a second, this isn't your life. It's over. Forget it.
One thing we're trying to work on here is to include and inspire and get the girls into skateboarding. What do you think we need to do more to get more girls to skate?
I think that women's skating is on the rise for sure, and I think it's just more about having, well, not only integrating everyone together, but having female-specific events as well, and people that inspire them, you know. And I feel like there's so many, especially here, like with Lizzie and with Alicia and everyone. It's not like, I hate the idea that, oh, you're pretty good for a girl. That doesn't make any sense to me. You're a good skater, and they are solid, good skaters. But I think that in terms of getting more people involved, you know, when we see, it's so ironic that a place like Afghanistan, right, Skatistan and Afghanistan, their ratio of girls to boys is equal, because they didn't have any preconceived notions about skateboarding when it was introduced there, and they don't consider it a sport because women are largely discouraged from sports in the Middle East. So they consider it just like a toy. And so the girls can play with the toy, boys can play with the toy. And so their ratio is way better than most of our other countries. And the same goes for Cambodia. I went to the Skatistan in Cambodia. There are as many girls skating as boys. And so in places like that, if that's the case, they're more progressive than we have been. And we have to take inspiration from that.
Yeah, for sure. And skateboarding can be pretty conservative at times.
It's not. Yeah, I think it's just more people are afraid to be out of the cool zone. You know, it's like, these are the tricks you do. This is how you look. This is what you do. But skating is about free expression. Skating is about being an individual and finding your own voice and you know, go do it your own way. Like that's the message is go believe in yourself and follow your passion, and even if it's not the cool way, whatever, like just go do it because you enjoy it. I mean, like I said, I was made fun of because I was a skater in high school, but I just didn't care because I loved it too much. And then when I got into skating and when I got somewhat recognized, they didn't like my style. So then I was like an outcast from here, and then I was an outcast in this little niche activity. It was just like, what? You know, we got to be more open in how we view things, but it also gave me incentive. It gave me a fire to prove everybody wrong, so to speak. So I guess maybe I needed that, but I don't think everyone needs that, and I think you should be encouraged to go do your own thing.
Well spoken.
Oh, thanks.
Where do you see skateboarding in 10 years?
I see it more as a, well, let's see, in 10 years, probably in the Olympics. I see it more as a not such a fringe activity or considered so much of an outcast type of thing. More of I see it as something that is as common as you playing soccer, football. You know, as common as you wanting to go do any other activity. In the U.S., baseball is considered the American pastime. More kids start skating now than start playing baseball, Little League. Like, that's a fact. So skateboarding is now more popular than the American pastime in the U.S. And so I think that that could be the same in 10 years in many, many countries, including here, including most of Europe, but even more so in Asia and in the Middle East even, South Africa. I think it's such a common language, and it's so unique and individualistic that that we all can identify with each other even if we don't speak the same language.
Yeah, it's proven that time and time again.
Yes.
Are there any questions? Cool.
Yeah.
Who do you think will win Du were attacked. Who do you place for pets?
Who do I think will win? I'm a big fan of Jimmy Wilkins. I don't know if he'll win, but if he stays on, it's pretty hard to beat him. And he does Ollie 540, so he has a soft spot in my heart. Anyone else? Yeah.
Did you see the documentary on the Pappas brothers?
Yeah. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I think that he believes these scenarios and these conspiracies, but I can tell you from firsthand that they're not true. It's really unfortunate because it's been a lot of people ask me about it, but no sort of legitimate news asked me about it. But how can I explain it if you don't like, in my defense, I was trying 900s in 1986. I tried to make my first one in 1995, and there were many other people trying it at the time. So there were about 5 of us that were actively doing this trick, and the guy who was the closest was Sluggo. And so if I were to have stolen it or copied it from someone, it would have been Sluggo. To be honest, Tuss wasn't that close. I mean, that's the truth. You know, you can ask any skater that has done 900s, he wasn't really that close, and I don't know why he wasn't invited to X Games. I had nothing to do with that. I was just a competitor. But he has his story because, you know, it made for a compelling sort of tabloid video, but it's a bummer for me. But I mean, you can ask anyone in the skate industry, they'll tell you the same thing. The people that were there are still around.
Jockey was actually trying them when this ramp
Jockey
was
too.
first
That's
built.
right. Yep.
And he landed quite a few, but he said he still says the ramp is too small. He's been saying that for the last 16 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing him. Yeah, and that was awesome, man. But I thought Sluggo was going to do it because he was a gymnast. So he knew how to stop spinning.
Stuntman too, huh?
Yeah, and that was the key, is once you start spinning that fast, how do you stop spinning? That was hard. It's still hard.
How long did it take when you first started? 86?
Yeah, I started trying them in 86. I started really trying to make them in like 1995. And so 4 years of trying, and broke my rib and threw my back out.
What, I didn't ask about that before. Injuries. Have you had any serious injuries? Or?
I broke my pelvis about 10 years ago. That's the worst. You can't do anything when you break your pelvis. You can't do anything except sit in bed and play video games.
Sounds good.
But that's fun.
What video games do you play?
At that time, we had just released one of our games, so I wasn't working on a new game. I played Gun. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but it was like a Grand Theft Auto, but in a Western setting. I don't know. I just remember I finished Gun. I did every challenge. I did every single thing.
What character do you play when you play Total Pro Skater?
Are you asking me if I play with myself?
Yeah. Just didn't know how forward I could be about it.
I use my character. I use mine because I want to know all my special tricks. So people always want to challenge me at my game.
Oh, okay.
So I know my character, I know all his special moves, and I can hold my own. I don't always beat them, but I'm pretty good at it.
Good. Ville, or not?
Oh, it's so sad. Like, why can't he make a good song with my name in it? People like Soulja Boy made a song with my name in it. And do you know what that song is about? Do you know what that whip my wrist? It's how to make crack out of cocaine. That's what he's doing. He's mixing it. He's whipping his wrist. So like, leave me out of that shit. So that's like I said. It's funny that he makes that, and then when I heard it, I was like, oh, that's cool. He made a song. Ah, no. But my kids like to play that song when I'm in the car. It's true.
Anyone else?
No?
Have you seen him?
I'm still looking. That's why I'm here. Is he here?
I heard he was.
Yeah. I think we're getting close. If you have a school dedicated to this sort of sport and technology and learning.
He's coming.
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you
Absolutely.
so much for coming in.
Well, thank you. See you out there. I just want to tell you guys, honestly, I know we're speaking just mostly of skating here, but whatever you want to do, whatever you really love doing, follow it. Learn everything about it. Like when I started skating, when I started a company, I had to learn stuff that I really didn't want to or wasn't interested in terms of, how to distribute, how to do purchase displays, how to do marketing and stuff like that. But because I learned all those things, it made me stay the course and be successful at it. And so whatever you're doing, keep learning it. Learn everything about that craft because it's going to benefit you in the end. That's all I can say. But keep living your dream. Thanks.